I am excited to be back this week in the black hole of real estate because there is a little change going on behind the scenes in the real estate space. We are noticing that buyers are a little more willing to get pre-qualified and go under contract after the summer as opposed to right after the school year, selling a house and moving before the school year. You know, in many markets, it's consistent all year long and a spike in the summertime during that time window. But there's something going on in the background that I'm not sure everybody is noticing right now, but I'm seeing it. With the number of people working at a distance combined with school age kids, homeschooling, being able to go to a school not in their designated district, but through different types of programs, it is becoming less important to be in the exact neighborhood at the start of the school year. As a matter of fact, in a lot of the homeschool situations, it's relatively unimportant, if you want to call it that, as far as where you live, because you're going to either homeschool or travel to homeschool events. And as more and more people continue to work remote or shift into places where they can work remotely, it's altering the landscape of when people are thinking of going on the market and moving based on things like school years and distance for work. What we notice is a number of real estate companies and teams would typically have a pretty busy summer, but a quieter September and October. Historical data would show that most real estate companies are a little quieter in January and a little quieter in September in most cases. And yet we're noticing record months for certain teams and companies for September. And there's a runway into October with coming soon listings and additional properties that we wouldn't anticipate hitting the market at this time. So as this dynamic shifts, the change is that there's a runway of inventory going to the end of the year, which is causing more buyers to look at moving before the end of the year. And I find it interesting that we're coming to a time that's been predicted here on this podcast, that in November we're probably going to see softening of interest rates for no other reason that we'll be a year out of the major elections such as president and other things. And maybe, just maybe, inflation is starting to level out. Would anybody be shocked if inflation's a little bit lower around November? I wouldn't. And as we travel through this time, it sure looks like we're going to see an increase in inventory, an increase in buyer activity, a decrease in rates, a little decrease in inflation at a time that's about a year distant from when everybody thought the market was going to crash. And it didn't. Because the prices are still the same or higher in most markets than they were this time last year. So 2008 did not happen all over again. That was predicted here. The bottom of the market was in all likelihood November 1st of 2022, and now we're putting almost a year of distance between that. Except for there wasn't much to recover from because it never really tanked. It just kept moving forward. So as a home buyer, if you're a little bit nervous right now about where's the inventory going to come from, I believe that you're seeing it right now in all the various ways that you search properties online. And we're still noticing that properties that go on the market well priced are getting a significant attention in the first few days. A lot are still going under contract, and maybe, just maybe, we're not saying the multiple offers and 50 and 100,000 above the listing price, but there's two parts of that. Certainly, there was pent-up buyer demand, and buyers were making offers on properties because, number one, they could, number two, they wanted to, and number three, because maybe the price that was being asked for the property was not reflective of that market. And for every time I notice a conversation where someone is saying that this property sold for $100,000 above the listing price, it might be because it's a highly skilled agent with an amazing marketing program. It's absolutely one outcome. It also might be that somebody was poor in their knowledge of the market and pricing of real estate, because in all honesty, if it sold for $100 more than the asking price, wouldn't it make sense that they missed the price by $100,000 on the listing presentation? Now maybe the sales skill was such that they had a seller bought into selling it for $100,000 less than it's worth, and ultimately they probably got the right amount of money, maybe in a shorter amount of time. But I think I could wonder this out loud: is it a skilled agent that was off by $100,000 in their price? Yes or no? I think pricing is getting dialed in, and I believe the reason for that is the market got tougher for a lot of agents this year. There was less deals to go around, and it caused agents to have to work on skill building and communications and the marketing. There was less listings to go around for agents to work on, and maybe, just maybe, the vast majority of the agents winning these listing presentations and getting the business were the most highly skilled and highly trained, most knowledgeable about price. See, there's a correction with the inventory. The best, sharpest minds with the best presentations and the highest level of sales skills and pricing are winning those listings. So we're seeing better pricing across the industry, and buyers are acknowledging that, hey, I can get the home for about the same as last year. The market didn't crash. Interest rates, yes, are higher, but if you're a cash buyer, it doesn't matter too much. And there's enough companies out there that are offering a refinance option over the next 3 or 5 years that you'll save on the lending fees should rates go down. It's a pretty good bet. There's also adjustable rate mortgages out there for those that believe rates are going down, and that would also negate having to refinance. There's options, and that's for the lending community to speak to and offer those opportunities. But right now, there's absolutely a shift in the timing of when properties go on the market, when people choose to move, and where the spikes in activity might be. And I'm not here to suggest that from this point forward, every September is going to be prosperous across the industry for everybody involved. It just means that right now more people are doing it in September than they have in the past. And I find that pretty interesting. There's a lot of markets performing this way. So if you are in a situation where you're thinking of selling a property, there's an available audience out there. Not everybody sells a property actually needs to move. People are absolutely selling vacation properties. Some just can't get to it, or maybe they've traveled enough that they want to go to other places, and rather than having a vacation property in one area of the world, going there a lot, travel, taste and preference is such that, hey, as opposed to having this property as our vacation property and going there 2-3 times a year, what if we spend the next couple of years going to all other parts of the world? Some of those properties end up getting rented out, some get sold to fund that world travel. There's always movement in the market. Nothing ever stays the same. But there's inventory coming from a lot of places that they wouldn't naturally come from in these time periods. So I'm very bullish on inventory increasing for those reasons. Not because we're in crisis, not because things are going terrible. It's because the landscape is changing. So you will see more inventory over the next few months. You will see additional buyers coming proverbially out of the woodwork. Not really. The time they buy is changing. And I think it makes sense. 5 years ago, we wouldn't have imagined this many people working remotely or this many families adopting in a homeschool. And homeschool is not what you think anymore. And it's active and it's vibrant, and many kids are making huge gains outside of the school system. And that's not a knock on the school system. There's just another good path. And that's what choice and opportunity bring to the table. Now, we can suggest that rates are going to soften a little bit in the next month or two, and I think that's how it'll play out. Inventory will, in all likelihood, increase. Those are things for the market to determine, but I have a strong suspicion that it will play out exactly that way. The last thing that we can talk about is those vacation properties I alluded to right now. If you were in the market for a vacation property, you might find an opportunity from somebody who's decided to travel the world, or maybe it's the right time for them to sell. And I want to put the radar out for this. We understand that the tax laws change over time, and there are a number of people feeling as if they need to sell a property before the end of this year to lock in whatever tax benefits there are this year, not knowing what the tax laws will look like next year and the year after. So there may be some additional inventory coming to the market for that reason as well. So if you're in the vacation property game, or maybe you bought an Airbnb and they tighten up the restrictions and the return is not what you thought it was going to be, I think you'll see some inventory from that. So if you're looking for a second home or vacation home or an investment property to flip it from a short-term rental situation to a longer-term rental, there'll be those opportunities as well in this market ahead for the fourth quarter of this year. Whew. All right. I had a lot to get out today because the market is changing, the opportunity is changing, and those are really good things right now. So if you got some questions about this, definitely drop us a comment below. I'm going to ask you just to hit the subscribe button so we can keep working together on our real estate purchase and investment strategies. This is Ron Wojciechowski for the Black Hole of Real Estate.